Okay, so we're live. Welcome everybody to another Tool Talk Saturday. I am your host, BS Small Engines. Beside me is your co-host, the Maintenance Man, and below, down there, is the guy best known for breaking tools, Client Graphics. If you can, guys, hit that like button and share this out. Let's try to make this one of the best Tool Talk live streams on YouTube.
It's awesome. Thanks for the great intro, Brandon.
Hell yeah.
Brandon, right up there. Make sure you hit subscribe to his channel if you're not already. Looks like he's got some power tools in the back that he's going to want to probably talk about today. He also made some Harbor Freight trips, which I'm sure I've made a couple myself. And I'm sure Neil's had a couple runs to a hardware store or anything like that. But this is Tool Talk Saturday. Normally it's the second Saturday of every month. But last week we had the Mother's Day weekend going on, so big shout out to all the mothers out there that help support us, brought us into this world, and just share in the joy of tools. And if they don't, go out and fix something for your mom. Then maybe they'll be a little bit more appreciative.
Absolutely.
So it looks like we got Zaphael joining us tonight. We got Twisted V-Twin Garage as well as Ronald. Appreciate you guys joining. Everybody's got little different things that they did probably before they started out here. I know it looks like somebody was playing Family Monopoly. I know I was playing some kind of Uno game. Flip Uno, something new.
I don't think I ever played Uno. I have.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, you got some new toys back there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got and what works good for you? And I can tell you I got something similar to that might work good for me or anybody else out there.
Well, guys, I don't know which we should start with because I love them both. But but Mike Hodge just popped up. So maybe it's time that we talk about this great gift that I got from Mike Hodge. This, guys, is awesome. Mike Hodge gave this to me. Yeah.
It's so awesome that I have one just like it.
Yeah. This thing gets the job done. Hey, Craig, I sent the link to you on Instagram, buddy.
So I don't remember the exact torque on it, Brandon, but I do know I have a manual to mine. I know it should be available online. If you need to know any specs on it, I can sure help you out. I think this bad boy will do at least like 400, 480 for torque spec, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah, it breaks the lug nut off like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Barely touch that.
I do have a question about Cobalt. Do they advertise like nut busting torque, or is it very
Well, let's look. Here is their 3/8 inch drive. What does that say right there?
max power?
Yeah, so it says max power 150 foot-pounds. So to me, that's pretty much advertising it right there when you look at it right on the box. Now, it's only on one side, but it's definitely one of the specifications that they show, as well as if you look on the top of the box over here, it does say some of the other specs. That's the 3/8 inch drive. And what I found out so far, and I was actually really surprised about it. So if you've missed some of my videos, the ones that I have with me today right now, it's going to be the Cobalt 3/8 that I just showed in the box. That one said to do 150 foot-pounds. It actually did 150 foot-pounds with ease. It did up to 200 foot-pounds, and it did that with ease as well. So, Neil, what's up?
So, would you say Cobalt definitely advertises pretty what's the best way to say it, I guess, is they might actually underestimate the power of the tool?
Yeah, it'd be fair to say that their advertised specs would be really real-world specs. So if you went out there and you were in a situation where, you were working on an Avalanche, Chevy Avalanche that's got 140 foot-pounds for the lug nut that you're supposed to torque it down to, and you came in and, you had Craig just yanking on it with a 26-inch breaker bar and just really yank those things down, you could put out 180, 200 foot-pounds, not a problem on that. And so when you're coming into something like this, that'll definitely do 200 foot-pounds. So it was really, really interesting to see that they underrated that tool. but there's situations where you don't know what you're walking into and you might need that extra power.
I mean, I think that's just a well done job on their part to, not do the whole.
But you have to know that it's a bigger tool. So I compared it to like Craig and I think BSS, Brandon, he runs DeWalt. And I think somebody was looking at the 12 volt DeWalt Extreme, and that little impact driver said 200 foot-pounds. It did 200 foot-pounds, but it took 6 to 10 seconds longer. Now, I'm not going to fault it for taking longer because they never stated how long it was going to take. But it did 200 foot-pounds, and that's what they marketed it as.
I have the 20 volt 3/8 inbound right now. I don't have it yet.
My brother has the older one, and it's done everything he's needed to do.
It's the brushless version. I just want it for doing like head bolts and small engine repair.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to change tires. I want something that's lightweight. I recently got a 20 volt DeWalt drill driver, so I want to be able to share the batteries. That was kind of the only reason I went that direction.
Yeah, and a lot of times there's not a lot of tool lines out there that don't have a reasonably priced kit for just the 3/8 inch impact. A lot of them are air tools, like the Milwaukee one. So like this one here, regular price on this kit is $299 for the battery, the smaller battery, the charger, and the tool. I mean,
I think I paid $250 for the DeWalt 3/8, but it came with 2 4-amp-hour batteries, charger, and a little. My kids call it a doctor bag.
Yeah. Yeah. So
is that the DeWalt?
Yes.
Yeah, DeWalt's have it does look like a little doctor's bag the way they.
Well, I have one that we take camping, and it's full of Band-Aids and all the stuff when we go camping. So
it truly is a doctor's bag.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, they're pretty decent tools. They're really handy to have around, and I mean, sometimes like people don't realize that there are some fasteners that are really on there, and you're like, I think I could probably get this off if I had a big enough ratchet or a big enough tool. But the reality is you don't want that one-sided torque. You want the impact on it jiggling and breaking free that fastener rather than twisting it off with raw torque.
So, and I also want something that's not overly heavy, because as I teach my son how to do this stuff, it's tools that he's going to use.
Right. Yeah, and that's where
all my home tools are for him.
Yeah, these are heavy.
Yeah, these are really heavy.
They got weight, but they get the job done. They got so much torque.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're changing tires, that's a great tool.
Yeah. So that's where we'll have a video coming up where we'll do the rigid subcompact impact 3/8 inch drive, and we'll put it head to head with the Milwaukee. And then, of course, if you missed the other videos on my channel, that's where we got the brushless Cobalt. And then I loaned out the Hercules, which was kind of an animal for $85 when you think about it.
I don't miss any of your videos. I got the reminder set.
That's great. That's great. I had a reminder set for this thing tonight, and so I got excited. But, you know, Craig, looks like you got a lot of boxes in the background there. Did you get anything good? You got some neat stuff there?
It's not here. It's at the shop.
I know.
Did the new 3D printer come in yet?
Going in my garage. The new one has not. I did get credit for the one I sent back.
Awesome.
I was and I have Arduino experience. I've played with them, so I wasn't scared of it at all, the assembly and all that. But we spent like 5 hours putting that thing together, and I go to load the Arduino code, and it's missing a sub program. And I searched all over GitHub to find that dumb thing, and no bueno.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? The website for the manufacturer is defunct. I said, I'm not going to spend, I probably could have got it working, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to spend another 10 hours messing with this thing. So I literally just tacoed it, threw it in the box, put a label on it, and shipped it back.
Well, you got to do that. I mean, support for something like that is kind of important. until you get everything up and running. So that's probably the smart thing to do. But we did have a couple new people join us. The Backwoods Mechanic, appreciate you joining tonight. If you haven't checked out his channel, he does a lot of real world things, like real stuff, real cool stuff. And he does even things like, how to make your socket organization a little bit more visible. So he's got some really cool things that he's done with putting silver paint or red paint or things like that, and makes things a lot more legible. And we also really appreciate a Patch of Heaven Farm joining us tonight as well.
So, Chris, is
guys.
it okay to talk about what we got going on right now?
Sure. Yeah, have at it.
So I just want to call Chris out because he did something that just blew me away, because I'm just a little guy on YouTube. I have 100 subscribers, and I do have a few people follow me on Instagram because of the pictures I take, but I'm just a little guy. And Chris kind of called me out on the side and said, hey, I won this tooling package. It's stuff that I can't use, but it's stuff that you can use in your shop. Would you like to have it? And I started getting some of those packages this week, and oh my gosh, I've got some awesome tools to take pictures of next week. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome.
Craig's got Christmas over there, and it's not quite July yet, and it's kind of a neat thing. And there's things that you can do in life, and there's other things you can pass up, and there's just some things that it was like, you know what, this is somebody that can get some good use out of things. And Craig's got a job that's coming up that one of the tools is going to be very important. So it worked out really, really well.
I was going to do it kind of the old school way, and there's a tool in there that's a high feed mill that is going to make that. You're going to see some videos of that. It's going to be some neat chip action. So I can't show all of the part, but I will be able to share it with some of you guys personally, so you can at least see the tool in action. I do have a lot of NDAs with most of the parts I make, so
that'll be very exciting. Well, I know Brandon was really excited. I know he shared with Neil and I, what was it, a Dodge Charger?
Yeah.
And then
this came in handy.
And that's where that came in handy, because now, is that the low profile Daytona?
No, unfortunately, I was $6 short, and I didn't bring my wallet that day.
Oh.
$6 short.
Well, I think so the difference between, so the thing that you got to be careful is you got to know what you're buying and what warranty you're getting it when you get the Daytona jack, because they have like 3 or 4 different models, at least 3 that I can think of, because they got the low profile, they got the long reach, and then they got the heavy duty, and they probably got something else in there. But one of them has a 3-year warranty, and the others only have a 90-day warranty. Not that a warranty matters on the jack, but it's just something that you need to be aware of if the Daytona jack is something for you, and specifically you're like one of those people that like to have a matching jack with your toolbox.
Well, I don't have a matching toolbox yet. But let me tell you what, I did something crazy. So this comes off with a quick thing, set of the boat. I used the top part as a breaker bar the other day.
See, I have a proper breaker bar for a breaker bar or cheater pipe. I don't use my jack handle anymore, but you can't just go to Harbor Freight and pick up a replacement handle for the jacks that I'm aware of.
No, but this is solid metal. I didn't even do anything to it.
I'm just saying, when I put a lot of torque on something, I put a lot of torque on it. I'm going to be breaking something, whether it's the fastener or the tool or the pipe. And if
I can tell you how much torque I was putting on something. We was putting in a wheel stud, so that took a lot of torque. We was trying to do it by hand at first, and we finally had to do it by impact.
Or were you just trying to get it to tighten down?
No, you have to put your like a bushing on there, and then the lug nut to get that to pull the wheel stud through.
Mm-hmm. Oh
so,
yeah, Brandon. That's how I got a wheel stud in that 3/8 inch thick steel, as well as some larger fasteners here, because when we do the rundown on the 3/8, we're going to get up to 250. So we needed some bigger, coarser threads than just the 3/16 wheel stud, or 9/16 wheel stud, which is similar to something on a Dodge dually axle. So I put some big studs on there.
Hey, Chris, have you ever thought about putting anti-seize on your threads when you're doing those tests?
Yeah, it's gonna affect the torque rating and value in a positive or negative way. And I've actually stripped them all down with brake cleaner before I actually do it, so that there's
Okay.
no extra. Um,
I'll just be curious as a comparison.
yeah, it would maybe go on a little bit easier. It probably would affect the torque value really no differently, because at the end of the day, whether there's anti-seize on there or not, I'm putting on 150 or 100 foot-pounds or 200 foot-pounds based on what the torque wrench is taking. So, I mean, theoretically, you would think that it would be less because of the slippage, but really you're putting on the exact same amount because the torque wrench factors in the slippage because it takes that much.
I guess the question would be is with the anti-seize on it, when you torqued it to 150 foot-pounds, it would slip to that 150. It wouldn't potentially gall the threads and kind of lock up.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you were actually doing the back off test at 150, your fastener would be slippery at that point.
Correct.
So
yeah.
It would just be an interesting comparison to go, hey, dry, 150, did fine. Put anti-seize on it and do a comparison side by side.
Yeah, and Zaphiel wanted to see red Loctite and or silver solder. And
I got some red Loctite in my bag over there.
And I wanted to see epoxy and some or some 2-stage epoxy on there, as well as maybe some super glue.
Loctite 680 retaining compound.
That'd actually be kind of an interesting video, would be to do like 4 different fasteners and do the Loctite versus super glue versus something else and something else.
But you got to do the red Loctite, the permanent one. That's what you got to use.
Red, blue. Oh, you know what? That'd be really interesting to see if there was a big difference between the red and blue.
We use a lot of green, which is retaining compound for like bearing sleeves and stuff. And we've actually found that to be more, works better than the red.
I know I can't just go down to Harbor Freight and pick up the green stuff.
No, we had to order it through Fastenal.
Yeah, I have a Fastenal. They warranty all my gear wrench stuff for me.
We don't have one here no more. I have to go like an hour away now.
Or you could call them up. If it's within a reasonable price point, they typically would just swap it out for you, no questions asked. Like if it's a socket or something like that. But if it's a ratchet, I've always taken mine to Fastenal. Red and blue equal purple. Yeah, what do you think of them apples? There is an orange Loctite between the red and the blue. And for everything else, there's, I don't know, Bosch?
Elmer's.
Elmer's? Blue stick?
Yeah.
We got Amos Cardoza joining us tonight. What's up, brother? And we got Walter Frederick. Hopefully I said that right. We got Tampa Boy Customs in here. Brandon, how we doing tonight? Have you looked? Do we got some thumbs up? Because I know Neil likes to talk about water pump pliers.
Water pump pliers.
Yeah.
I always just call everyone that looks like that, channel locks. I don't know why. They're all channel locks to me.
Because it's easier to say channel locks than Knippix?
Yep.
So
we got 12 thumbs up.
So Neil can probably tell me that these are a channel lock. What are these? A 422. That's your standard 10-inch. Okay. Those are like my dad's. So tried and true. You can see on there that it doesn't have the riveted down fastener. It's basically got the tightening screw on there. So that you know right away that that's made in USA and it's fairly old. Now, you could pick up the El Cheapo at Home Depot and get their Knippix knockoff. To pick that up for like, I think it was the 10 and the 8-inch for like $4 or something like that. And that's not too bad. Then you can go, what I feel is maybe a step up or quite a bit of a step up, is then you can go with the Irwin brand. Now the Irwin brand, you can typically get that at Lowe's, and you can get the 10 and the 12 or the 8. I can't remember which one it is. And you can get that for under $20. So when you can get this one for under $20, and Neil, I don't know if you've had any experience with the Irwin.
Yep.
But the Irwin, they have the auto adjust up, so it locks onto your fastener.
Yeah.
And I think they're the only ones that really have that I'm aware of.
Well, I have a Work Pro pair that does that, but that's the only other.
Craig's got some channel locks over there, and then
These are my favorite with the V jaws.
Yeah. So then we got the Knipex Cobra, and then we have Harbor Freight rounding it out that they came in with their knockoff, and it's pretty darn close, believe it or not. If you don't like the Knipex and you don't like the price, then you probably definitely won't like the Harbor Freight Doyle one. They're both pretty rigid. If you were to grab those down there, they both have about the same amount of flex in there, if that matters to somebody. Neither one of them have the end point where it just stops. They just come to a close. Not like it needs a detent in there for it. The Knipex one is definitely easier to push and move than the Harbor Freight one right out of the gate. But they both feel pretty consistent. I mean, this one will come in at $20, 20% off coupon not included with that, so it'd come down to what, $16? Where the Knipex Cobra, if you bought it individually, would be like 26 to 30. But it's got a really nice mechanism on it. I'll give them that. That's a really nice mechanism. And if you like the Doyle line, well, then you got to pick up one of those.
Well, for me, I really like the Irwins. You could use them. I use them professionally to start off with, and at home they're a great player, I think. But I have the Knipex at work now, and for me, it really is the thinness of the jaws that makes that tool, because they're so strong and so thin. Is that the Doyle?
That's the Knipex, and that is the Irwin. So you can see that.
Yeah.
The Irwin is twice. You're right. That's twice.
And I didn't think about that originally, but now.
And the Harbor Freight one, believe it or not, is pretty much dead on the same.
Dead on, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the profile from the front, you can see that the Harbor Freight one looks a little bit beefier, so not as slim on the head per se, but not by much. They look pretty darn close. Like, this is probably the closest knockoff that I've seen, other than maybe one of the Tractor Supply ones.
But also, like, the jaw, you see how it's a little different on the Harbor Freight one, the Doyle?
Yes, it's a little bit wider, so it doesn't come to as much close as the Knipex one.
I mean, that's if you're nitpicking. Those are the things that I think the Knipex they're amazing. I really like them. So
yeah, it's not bad. I mean, like I said, it's probably the closest knockoff you're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you don't want to spend a bunch of money,
and the Cobras, like the grips aren't amazing, but like when I first started with them, but they really hold up well against, like, I use them for plumbing. So in terms of like rusting and all that literal crap, they've held up very, very well compared to like the Irwins and that stuff.
Now the Irwin is meant more of a comfort grip, because this is definitely a lot thicker of a grip. I don't feel like it would be any less of holding up, but I feel like this would definitely scratch and mar and leave more of a damage pattern than this one. I'm trying to decide what that grip feels like, what other brand that feels like to me.
It's almost like it's not rubbery feeling. It's very much like
it's a plastic dip with like a grit to it.
Yeah.
Like the plastic dip.
Yeah, it's not like the Harbor Freight one. That one is 100% plastic dip. But this one is like, feels like it's got like air bubbles to it or something. Like it's been.
Yeah.
A good test to maybe run on those is maybe just try to see which ones you can pull the grips off by hand.
I would hopefully not be able to pull any of them off. I don't think I'll be able to get the Harbor Freight ones off because those you can tell when you look inside here, they're dipped. And so it actually
like grips really.
It comes in and it's close because of the gap in there. It's actually dipped around that. Not on this side though. That'd be an interesting one. That's kind of neat. I don't know. I'll do something on that because they're relatively new.
You should also Douglas Pump Pliers is another brand, very big in the plumbing community. But that'd be another. They're not too expensive either to throw in the mix if you're interested.
I think the 5 for me is pretty good. I think like quite a bit for pliers that I can really only use 2 to 3 at a time.
Yeah.
So I think I'm doing really good.
3 pliers at a time. You're talented.
Yep. Got to use a foot on one, holding it, and the other 2. And
I do have a pair of the flat jaw. I call them Knipex, but Knipex, as you pronounced it. I have a pair of the flat jaw, and you can literally stand on those, and they will grab the fastener.
These are supposed to do that too. So I was going to make maybe a fixture out of some 1/2-inch steel pipe. But then I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm the standing on type of person. That just seems like I'm pushing too much for marketing there because realistically, I don't know of too many people that jump on their.
There's videos out there too that show it. So
yeah, like that's their marketing thing. That's just what they do.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, but maybe if I get bored, we'll see. They're pretty decent. I was kind of I still like the Irwin ones, man. I don't know what it is. I think it's that adjustable up where you just get right on the fastener. Where these, I feel like, doesn't matter how expensive you pay for it, you have to actually adjust it to it and then lock it on there.
So
we got
on the
Junk from
flip
work
side
in
of
the
that,
chat.
go ahead.
We got Junk from work in the chat and 2 ATVs. Welcome, guys.
If you need just a spare break in your day, if you need a good laugh, if you need to hear a great story, I would definitely go visit Junk from Work. And
yeah,
he's got stuff that you think of making, but he actually makes it. And you think of doing something, and he actually does it. And he has a lot of input that he gets from people on Instagram or his real life experience, and then he actually puts it into action. So that's really neat to see.
Hey, Sapphire, I don't see E-clips on this. I see snap rings. I don't see no E-clips.
Oh, yeah. They don't. They sell those E-clips in that little blister pack plastic case for like $4.99 to what is it, $8.99 or $6.99, depending on which coupon you use. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta mention something. That link that just posted, GoFundMe for Jeff, a family friend that I've known for most of my life. Dad just passed away, and he's trying to get back here to Central Texas, and his truck broke down. So that GoFundMe is to raise money so they can get back here.
See, I must have missed the end of Neil's stream. What did Amos write? I'm sure Neil knows.
I might have not been there.
Well, very neat. What else do I got? Brandon, do you got anything else new going on?
Yet, I don't know. I haven't bought any more new tools yet, but I'm really looking into that cordless ratchet.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an expensive purchase.
What
I think it's gonna be worth it.
What brand are you thinking about going for that?
At this rate, I found better deals on the Milwaukee.
Are you looking at like a longer head one or just a standard?
Just Just a standard. Nothing super fancy.
Yeah, because I think I've even heard people on even the Milwaukee one expect a bunch of torque from it, but the max that you're going to get even on one of those might be upper 65 to 85 foot-pounds on there. So it really depends for breakaway on that. It may be able to, serve your needs. It may not be.
Yeah.
I've always found that even with like an air ratchet, you end up doing it by hand.
That's what I found 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I've tried to use those. I cannot pick up anything under $100 that is even going to last long enough for me. Even
it spins the fastener on quickly in a tight space,
right,
and then you end up using it as a manual ratchet to finish it off.
Yeah, I feel like that's usually the case for me.
And they're usually very loud, so
that or I don't know, there's something about just being able to know the actual hand tightness instead of just hitting it with the gun once or twice or the ratchet once or twice, just not knowing actually how much you threw down.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get under a car in a weird spot and you got a long boat or something and you're just sitting there in a weird spot. You're starting to cramp up. Your arms are starting to cramp up trying to get that long boat in. That's where I found one of those handy.
Yeah, I actually pulled off the so on your AC, typically there's a clutch that has a wire harness that comes off of it, and then from your standard main wire harness, it comes down and clips in, and it's usually maybe attached right to the inside of the housing on there. Well, I pulled it off of the little clip, and I couldn't get it back in there. I probably spent 15, 20 minutes dinking around trying to slide that thing back on so the wires wouldn't rub on one of the pulleys or the belt. I had to have my wife come in and end up helping me because she has the tiniest hands and the tiniest arms. And I thanked her profusely, and I really appreciate her tiny hands and tiny arms. And she helped me out.
No comment.
If it works, it works.
Yep. I really wouldn't want her to be bigger than me, so I mean. And I mean, speaking of those things, I don't know about how everybody is, but the Milwaukee on here, I haven't used them. Typically don't buy them. And I remembered why I don't. And it's because while I like the pistol grip on here, the handle is so darn big on there. And maybe it's just me, but I can't stand how big the handle is on the M12. Yeah, I guess it's just a personal preference. It's like it when it comes down to screwdrivers too. Some people like a lot of comfort grip, and some people like just the raw plastic grip. It's just how I feel on the Milwaukee. The handle's just too big on the M12.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was 6'6", 280, I might feel differently.
Well, I don't know. I got like long fingers, so
I don't know. Everybody's different, and that's why tool choices and brands are out there and available.
Yeah.
That one, I mean, like I said, I love that pistol grip part. I wish like the Rigid had that, but the Rigid handle feels better in my hand because this is just too big. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Okay, we got Old School Repair Shop in the basement. He's got some new tools this week, and he's been dying to tell us about them. He's waited all week just to tell us about these tools he got. So we'll bring him up so he can tell us about these tools that he got.
Hey.
Oh.
Maybe.
We lost him.
There we go. Maybe.
Am I in?
There we go. Yeah,
Hey guys.
now.
Yeah, a lot of new tools. Actually,
How
my
cool.
stupidity, I forgot to grab them. There's one.
Craig, do you have the same mic as Brandon?
I do.
Do you guys have a preamp? Does that come with a preamp on it?
I do not have. Mine's direct USB.
Yeah, but they actually recommend on some computers to put a preamp on them.
Some of them have the XLR output.
Got one more to grab.
USB only.
Yeah.
Well, they both sound good.
Thank you.
Probably sound way better than my microphone.
Oh, crap.
Brandon's
And it was like,
recommendation.
what was it, like $29 or somewhere in that price range?
Something like that.
What was? $25?
I have it about 12 inches from me, so that probably helps keep it clear.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
I know Mix Mowers has the same one, and when he does his live stream, he's right up on it.
Like this. It's like
Yeah.
you're eating the microphone.
yeah, Frank, I agree with you. I think Tekton's next move should be some power tools or cordless tools.
You know, that would be cool. I would invest in that.
Yep. As long as they don't partner with Ryobi or a couple other brands like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't own any Ryobi, so I don't know what the big problem with them is.
We were just saying if Tekton was to rebrand or
Oh.
get the power tools in, we would not want them to pick Ryobi
That's what Hart did.
because we can go to Home Depot and pick up Ryobi. We want something new and innovative or different.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna find new and innovative here.
Well, let's see what you got. Show us the new tools that you got and maybe why you purchased them and how it's going to help you out. And maybe it's just a cool tool to show us.
Yeah. So how do you guys want to start this? Do you want to start from the cheapest one and move up to the most expensive one?
Well, have at it.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheapest one.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure you guys have this at your Harbor Freight, but I got me a lock and grease fitting coupler.
Oh, nice. I could have used one today.
Oh, I love it. I had the old ones you had to push on there and you had to babysit them. I used to lose a whole crap ton of grease with that. This little sucker, I'm not joking. This have saved me time and headaches, and especially when I'm greasing this old girl. I mean, doing all the steering, the suspension, the drive shafts. I don't have to babysit the coupling. It just clips on. It's there. The several antique tractors I work on, I can get this into places I can't get the other type. This walk behind tractor I'm working on, I just walk away from it and grease it.
And
I paid like Harbor Freight has one without the coupon. It's $20. I got that on the big one up in my other building, but this one I paid $30 on Amazon shipping and handling, and it came within a week.
Sounds like a decent deal. Saves you time and money.
Oh yeah, and I use this grease gun more than ever, just because it has this nice little locking thing. I will say though the spring's a little hard to do, like hard to squeeze.
Got to use it more.
Yeah. Or just not be a wimp. And yeah, like that was $20 is the one on the big compressor, and they're rated for a large amount of pressure, surprisingly. Yeah, it's basically a knockoff of Lock and Lube. And then this one, I guess I needed this for my trailer. I got two full aluminum trailers, and I had to do all the wiring on them, or redo the wiring. I got me a Snap-on butane soldering kit that comes with a plastic welder. And I've been using this already. Several heads, you just simply twist off. You can slip another one on. I wish it came with a wrench so I could take these little soldering ends off, because it comes with a whole bunch of different ones, and they're all nice and stored on the bottom. And it's got a magnet, so I can sit there and stick it on anything metal.
I feel like that is something that Junk from Work has reviewed. I know I know he's done some solder offs, but I feel like that's something that he's reviewed.
I don't know if it was that or if it was the wire shrink wrap butane.
Yeah, maybe that was a butane torch.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the Snap-on one is decent, but
he does have it.
I think it's a little on the expensive side. I think there's some alternatives that rebrand for them on that kit.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they are, but if you need something like that and you need to go on credit and
I bought that outright.
Well, that's good. I think what does that one run you? Is it like 185 or 195 or
195 with tax and a high tax? It cost me about 190. And if I'm doing any soldering, I grab that thing. It heats up so quick. It's portable. I don't have to carry a big old cable with me because I have a like the old pistol type. I have one of those. I prefer this tinier one. It's so much lighter to do all the little circuitry.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I have one too. I don't have a Snap-on one, but yeah.
How does it work on larger gauge cables?
It's like for I don't really know gauge cable, but I know if you're trying to do like battery cables, don't even try.
I think I haven't used mine over 16 gauge, maybe 16, 18, but typically it's like the 18, 20, 24 stranded.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not try to do any zero gauge.
No, I use my oxyacetylene for those. And this one I use a lot since I bought it.
Jennifer Work mentioned probably goes about 14 gauge.
Probably. This one I actually used today on Old Blue here. Snap-on borescope camera.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I need to buy one of those. I've been needing to invest in one.
I love it. I used it today because I was just curious to how the internals are on this old girl since I rebuilt the motor. So I just stuck this up the oil pan to see how everything's looking. It's like spotless inside. That ran me about $390 on just that plus the warranty. I just wish it, for how compact it is, I wish it could record because there's so many good repair videos I could do with that. And it had and maybe even like a little grabbing claw on the end. Because when you drop a 10 mil, you can sit there and use that to see where it's at and grab it and pull it up out.
Yeah, I think any way you slice it or dice it, you're not going to get a really cheap, good scope.
No, and the quality, the video quality is beautiful. And the light, you can adjust the light on it. It's great. And you can zoom in and out. I love it. And now for the most expensive. The Snap-on multimeter, the hybrid innovation one. It's really, I like it because it's really bright. I love having a bright meter.
Yeah, that's nice.
That one, this is, I can't remember how. Since I bought this thing, I use it as much as the grease coupler. Surprisingly, that ran somewhere close to 1,000 for that one. Came with I got the amp clamp with it, 2 extra leads that plug into it, and does everything I need it to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's about $1,000.
Yeah, my Snap-on guy said, well, he charged me $1,000 for my meter, but it's also got the same lifetime or the same warranty as the borescope camera. And it's better to have an overkill meter than an underrated one for what you're doing.
So I have a question for you. What made you choose a Snap-on over a brand like Fluke?
Fluke, yeah.
Yeah.
I used Fluke for years.
It was a lot closer for like the Snap-on dealer. He was already at where I work. He's established at where I work currently. So it was just simpler just to go just distance.
Uh,
And I know he'll be there for the next, probably next 10 years. And if I ever have a problem with it, I could just take it with me to work.
That's an expensive meter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Do you ever feel
A
like
good Fluke will run you about $200.
Oh,
well, maybe the meter, but then you got to get the amp clamp and a couple other things. But definitely at the end of the day, if you need a replacement pair of leads, it's going to be a lot cheaper to go with the Fluke ones, which might even work on the Snap-on one.
yeah.
It's all made in Taiwan.
Yeah, it's just better quality Taiwan stuff.
No, I'm not discounting your purchase. It's a very nice meter. I was just curious.
It's an awesome meter.
I'm in the automation world, and we use meters every day, and our go-to meter is a Fluke. That's kind of our standard for measurement. I was just curious why you might choose to go with a Snap-on over a Fluke. So it sounds like it's a convenience thing and a warranty
it was
thing.
just more convenient to get these tools through Snap-on.
Some of it is also like an experience and a hands-on thing where it's sometimes kind of tough. There isn't really like a distributor or a retail store that I'm aware of around me that just carries Fluke. And if somebody else doesn't readily have something available to demo or to look at, sometimes it kind of drives me away from things. I like to feel something, touch something. My dad was an electrical engineer, so I have Fluke, so I'm good there. But he also got a couple off brands, but they have like the data cable, and you can hook it up to the computer and do graphing and all the neat stuff with it. And I mean, $100 can actually go a long ways with a multimeter. And if you know how to use it, that's the most important thing. So if you can also have somebody that has one similar to it and has experience with it, and they can really use it and teach you along the way, then that's where you're going to get your biggest value add on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was in college, this is all they had. And thanks to my college, we got certified through Snap-on to use these type meters.
Very cool.
So everyone in our class but one got their Snap-on certifications along with their Snap-on scan tools. But the problem is with me, I need a scan tool that will work on Old Blue here with her OB1 computer system.
So it sounds like you got some training on that meters, so that makes it go a lot further than anything else.
Yeah, we've learned how to do a whole bunch of soldering in the semi trucks, and sometimes one of the trucks, I think it was the I think it was the old Western Star we had up there. They got rid of it now and got another one, but the one they had a short inside the computer. And they showed us how to go in, open the computer, diagnose, okay, that's where the short is with this meter. And to make sure that that's the short, we checked milliamp throughout the computer, make sure it wasn't overdrawing. And with the soldering iron, we learned how to take the little fuses that are inside the computer and replace those with the torch or the soldering iron. And sometimes you can't get those big, heavy soldering irons in there.
So you've got some training to go with that meter. So that may be outweigh using another meter just from the education standpoint.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And
That's true.
I have some Harbor Freight ones, but I just don't trust them to be accurate.
Well, if it's a free one, then I wouldn't trust it either.
It is the free ones.
Those
It's free.
don't
That's why I grabbed it.
Yeah, those don't count. If you would have maybe spent like $30 to $70 on one of their meters, that'd be a different story. But the free one, yeah, half the time the battery's dead on mine. So that's what
Those
I get.
are good for keeping in the back seat of your truck to tell your buddy he's got a dead battery in his car.
I actually,
Yeah.
my kids, they get the battery checker or multimeter, and then they get some free batteries because then they change, and a screwdriver, and then they change all their own batteries and check all their own batteries and all their own toys.
Like my friends, they call me when their TV remote don't work.
So we got Junk from Work interested in knowing what kind of automation you do exactly, Craig.
The best thing I can tell you is go check out our website, mcengineeringinc.com.
So as far as automation, I mean, just from an outsider looking in, I would say that it's definitely milling and machine work. And so you're basically dialing in how to design a part. And
so I guess what I post on Instagram is mostly me machining parts for the automation projects, which most of the time I can't show anyway. All our automation stuff has primarily been for manufacturing. So if they've got a person doing a job manually, the company will come to us and say, hey, can you build a machine to do this manual person job repetitively, accurately, day in and day out. So we have some videos linked on our website that show what we're allowed to show that the companies have approved, but I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, I've been to your website. I like to read how y'all started out in a garage and just upgraded over the years. That was pretty cool.
This garage I'm sitting in now was actually the third garage we were in, and there's still a hole in the ceiling where I had to make clearance for the mill.
Well, you had to do that too. I got a hole right over here in the corner of my shop from when my grandfather had this place as a machine shop from one of our mill machines.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, Zaphael did put in the chat, have you checked out the blog that EEV blog did on a review of the free Harbor Freight multimeter? And yeah, I've seen some of those. I'm kind of looking at them right now. So they do work. They are free when they actually had the coupons for free, which they haven't had a free coupon for the multimeter in, oh goodness sakes, at least the last 6 to 9 months to a year, if I recall correctly. They do work, but the one downfall that I hate about the free meter is that it doesn't have an auto off. And so when you turn it on, it stays on until you turn the switch off, which means 9 times out of 10, I have kids with sticky fingers that leave them on, and the battery's dead on them.
Yeah.
That's the only one downfall. But they've always worked for everything the kids have needed to do, as well as myself.
I actually followed Dave on EEV blog. He's done a lot of multimeter reviews, all the cheap ones on Amazon. He actually makes his own multimeter that's made by a really well-known brand.
Not to get off track on multimeters or anything, but you had talked about cheap multimeters to expensive ones. Somebody that checks out really cheap tools, but also expensive ones, would be that guy right over there, Neil, the maintenance man. He's checked out the ProStormer. He's checked out, goodness sakes, what's that chemo brand that's green? He's checked out things that you've never even heard of. What's the latest thing you've looked at, Neil?
A schlong.
A schlong, an S-long. And it's the most interesting video that I've seen in a long time. I
think I did a good job with that one.
I think you did a great job. I did not know what I was getting myself into. When I looked at the title, I was like, what? I almost was ready to text you, like, Bud, what's going on? And then I saw the case and it said S-long, and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
It's probably why tool companies don't come knocking on my door.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, you're just talking about a brand, and that's the brand that somebody chose to pick.
Yeah, and to be honest, S-long, I don't know why they chose that name, but they're pretty prominent on Amazon. If you typed in, like, if you go on Amazon, type in drill, you're gonna have all these. They have like Coop, S Long, like all these weird off brands that show up. So, but
I will take that challenge.
S Long has, like, they've been on there for a few years, so they're not like there's a couple that are fly by night companies that take whatever rebrand and rebadge it and send it out. Like, but S Long was on there for a while. I needed another cordless ratchet. And although I will say it was pricey, I think it was like $64 for a 3H 12-volt ratchet, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a very well rebranded ratchet as well.
So I know Amazon and other big companies do a lot of data mining. I will tell you, when I type in drill on my Amazon profile, I do not come up with S-Log. So it means that you and I do have a little different taste when it comes to looking at tools. And so not saying that this is any better, I'm getting Black & Decker, I'm getting DeWalt, I'm getting Work Pro, but it's the pink one. Not that my wife wouldn't want some pink Work Pro. I'm getting Go Axioe. That sounds like something that you might check out.
Probably have the No Cry.
No,
I get
They're back, guys.
What does that mean?
How would you have a cordless tool brand No Cry? Like, what does that mean? It's just never going to let you down?
Is that one that you don't cry once and you don't buy it once?
Maybe.
That was a joke. That was not a bad dad joke. That was not a dad joke at all. That was a tool joke.
The no buy. I'm gonna come out with the cordless lineup that goes on Amazon probably 5 years from now. It's gonna be called the no buy.
Is that because no one will buy it?
We'll see. People buy the No Cry. It's on there. Wrangler Star bought a No Cry.
Did he buy it?
He did. He bought it and tested it out. Yeah, I mean, it's like for the 1/2-inch impact No Cry, lithium ion is like, I don't know, $60-$70 on Amazon, I think. At the time, for him, it's a drop in a bucket and millions of views.
I guess if you needed to buy a drill that you literally had to throw away when the job was done,
that's what Black & Decker's for, It's a household name.
If you had to rappel down the side of a cliff to drill 1/4-inch hole and then throw the drill out into space.
Actually, Black & Decker was the first power tool on the moon. That's what they used to drill the. They came up with the drill to drill the core or whatever they brought back.
I have Black & Decker's anniversary edition. I think it's a 14.4 volt. It's got an aluminum housing, cordless drill.
They used to make industrial tools at one time.
I'll have to dig that up and show it to you guys sometime.
That would be cool to see that.
Well, they used to buy industrial brands too, but they've pretty much bought everybody now.
They're the kings of the free agents, right?
Yeah.
I don't own any Black & Decker, so I don't know how good they are.
I feel like you can't go into a big box store and not see them these days.
Yeah.
At least not see something. I mean, I feel like their quality has changed from what it was 15 to 20 years ago. Not saying that it's bad, not saying that it's great, but I'm just saying that I've seen a shift. And I mean, if you need something that's a value,
well,
things, it might be a great opportunity to look at.
Brad's Workbench did a thing on Hart Tools being, at Walmart because Walmarts are everywhere and people.
Sorry about that, guys. Give me a second.
But what I think is Walmart found a play to bring in another brand, but they're hyper tough basically their competition was Black & Decker. So they got rid of the competition. The tool quality is about the same. So for them, now when people go in to buy a drill at Walmart, they're not going to buy Hart because they're there to get something inexpensive. I don't know how you guys.
What up, Work Pro?
Oh, I haven't had to buy tools before these for a long time, so I haven't really. I've noticed over at our Walmart, there's hardly anyone buying tools there.
I go in for, if I need something in a pinch here and there. It's not a bad option, but yeah.
Now, if I'm going to Walmart, I'm only buying a few things: oil, WD-40, and pop.
I use the brake cleaner sometimes from time to time because it's cheap there.
And once in a while, I'll clean out our Walmart of all their brake clean and carb cleaner.
I feel like they got more in their cans than O'Reilly's has in their cans for some reason. Feel like you get more air more.
Cleaner.
They don't put enough air or something in the cans. Yeah.
Got to just check for the ounces, see who's got more ounces. I think I picked up some 3M brake cleaner, 2 for $7, had like 8.9 ounces or something like that. Maybe it had a little more or less. I can't remember. It was the cheapest one. I've never used a 3M brake cleaner, but we'll find out how it works.
Do a video.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Work Pro Tools in tonight, checking us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always like Sue. She's really nice for more Pro Tools, and they got a great bunch of people that are easy to work with, and they're very receptive on social media or any other contact. So sometimes it's not just Work Pro, but it's other companies. Capri Tools, for one. If you ever have problems with some of their tools, sometimes it's almost easier to reach out to some of the companies on Instagram than it is to try to go to find an email address or something like that. So when you're working with brands, oddly enough, Instagram sometimes is a really interesting and easy way to get a hold of a brand or attention.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Or they'll point you in the right direction, or you'll discover things that you never knew existed. So, for instance, I'm not sure if you guys have heard the Vice Grip story or know about Vice Grip, how they started in DeWitt, Nebraska, and they moved around, and then that factory got closed and shipped overseas, and the factory got bought by Melco Tools, which is a USA-made company, and they kind of started with a story kind of like Craig, where it was 2 guys in a garage, and they started putting out some decent quality products, and that grew and it grew and it continued to grow. And that Vice Grip plant got turned into another Vice Grip plant that's going to produce some Eagle Grip pliers and some other interesting tools that hopefully will come to market here very, very soon, or at least by the end of the year. And hopefully I'll have an opportunity to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're still alive by the end of the year, who knows? Coronavirus might get to go airborne and kill all of us.
Well, hopefully not. I mean,
I think we'll be all right.
Hopefully we'll be fine. I mean, because there's lots of more tools on my bucket list that I want to check off.
Yeah, me too.
I do not have a Snap-on multimeter on mine. If I did, what was the model number on that Snap-on one that you picked up?
It's the. Wait a minute, if I can find the model number. Oh, here, I'll just hold it. It's the hybrid one.
I'll have to check it out later. But
I love it, and I love this grip though. It feels like it's a heavier meter than some of my older ones.
let's not drop it to find out.
Yeah.
Sure, let's drop the most expensive thing I own next to feeding this thing.
No, let's please do not. Please do not.
I caught it.
Otterbox should make the case for them.
I was like, Brandon's live stream is going to the next level.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of Vice Grips, there's a guy I talked to or he reached out to me on Instagram. He's from Indonesia. And he mentioned this brand Tactics, which is made in China, but apparently it's like their higher quality house, like, entry level professional type tool. So I bought a pair of these. Here's the Tactics. So they're C-clamp vice grip, but a good way to tell how decent a vice grip is how many like pivot points they actually have, right? So like the cheaper brands, like if you bought Hyper Tough, they would have like 20 rivets in the jaws, right? And this one we got just, it seems like a decent pair. It really seems like actual vice grips. We just have the 3 rivets in that area and the 2 up here. And, it does seem like a pretty well-made tool.
Would something like that run you?
Hey, say that. Let me just check one of my vice grips.
This is about is under $20. It's like 16 something, 17. So, and they have
bunch
racks
of those
and stuff
clamps
too.
Yeah, mine looks like it's the 3 rivet type.
Was that the 11-inch one, Neil?
Yes.
Well, you have to let us know how those hold up.
I will. I mean, obviously they aren't going to be for the intended use, but I will definitely find uses for them. They'll come in handy for sure.
I use them for when I'm welding. Using the whole bits together, or occasionally use them as an extra ground clamp.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them for welding.
I have all mine just hanging over here. Just right off camera there. All hanging up there, all my C clamps, all my vice grips, just close to my welding bench.
I actually used one of those on a drill press today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I do. I use them a lot for that too.
Yep.
You find a lot of good uses for them.
Yeah, just to have that extra reach around.
Hey, any reach around's good.
$16.99. I guess you can't beat it, right, Neil?
Yeah, $16.99 reach around.
That one came from overseas too.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with the actual original vice grips, but I've found a few, well, I'm not a mechanic, so I, more carpentry and maintenance work.
Later, junk.
Later, junk, and so like but vice grips are like a third hand, right?
Third hand you hope is not there. I mean, I like it to hold what I need it, but when it's in the way, it's in the way sometimes.
Yeah. But well, Grant, I believe in if it works, it works. No matter how cheap.
Yep.
I picked up a couple of these recently.
Those are nice.
For the home shop, and I
called,
saw Musty using them.
If I had to name them, I'd call them a swallows.
They're like a duckbill something. They're the 12LC. They're Irwin vice grips, but for being able to get underneath something.
Yeah.
And, they've got almost a 4-inch jaw there.
Oh, those would look like they would work great with a pipe.
Yeah, the darn thing looks like a whale.
Yeah.
For having one pair of vice grips in your toolkit to go, this kind of covers them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I don't think I've even seen anything that comes to close to a knockoff of that.
I'd never seen them before. I saw Musty using them, and Amazon I went, and now I have 2 pair.
Zaphael says, I have something like that, but it's more for oil filters. Or oil filters
You probably could use this for an oil filter.
Or oil filters that don't want to come off.
Yeah, those stubborn ones.
Actually, I've had really good luck with the Motive X one for oil filters that don't come off. And I'll show you the one I was using before I switched to Motive X.
I've had them where I had to punch a hole through the filter with a screwdriver just to break the torque from them.
So this was a Lyle branded one, and that always worked really well for me on some of the Toyota filters that were really small on like the 1.8 liters.
Oh, those little tiny things.
Yeah. So that's what I had to get.
Found out those are the biggest pain in the butt to get on the Toyota ones.
Yeah, this one's really only for getting it off, but I ended up breaking one of the cheap little black plastic nut metal, whatever it is, and the Motive X one came in really nice. I like the springs on there. It just is a little bit nicer. But yeah, that one comes in handy. That's my go-to for Toyota filters.
Yeah, Toyota, we use a separate, like a specially designed one to take their filters off. Before I got laid off from Toyota, we had one on a Toyota Camry. We had to get the air impact gun to get that the oil filter off the car.
That's crazy.
That just shouldn't be, right?
No. No. And then the customer came back saying that we put we have a torque wrench at our Toyota dealership. We have a torque wrench specifically set for doing the oil filters. And I go until it clicks and then I stop. That customer came back 20 minutes later after coming in for an oil change, came back and said that we put that oil filter on way too tight. My question is, why was he even trying to change his oil filter when we just did it?
They work for the news station or something. Actually, when I first bought my pickup truck and did the first oil change, I went, grabbed my ratchet, went to go pop the drain pan plug, and I had to bust out an impact just to get that freaking thing out.
I know the other Ford dealer, not the one that's right beside us, but another Ford dealership. I don't know why I did this. It was the stupidest thing I had done. I took my Bronco over there to have. Oh, I know. I went and got an alignment done, and I had them do the first oil change to get all the break-in oil out of the motor. And I thought everything was fine. They did the alignment perfectly. That truck has never steered better. And when I did the oil change, a couple months later, they stripped out the original screw, the original bolt that was on that truck. I had to go buy a whole new oil pan and dang near pull the whole motor out just trying to put the oil pan back in it. And now it's the only metric bolt that's on this truck.
Do you have it marked? Did you take like a grease pen and write like an arrow and say oil filter is a XYZ size?
Yes, all my information for this old girl, I have it written right here. I have what oil, what transmission fluid, how much coolant, how much oil, what even the wrench size for the oil pan is now. And I also have
that's a really good
tray. When you pull the oil filter off this thing, it's like you literally are sitting like this trying to get the oil filter off the truck because it's up over the front pumpkin, back on the motor, and you're just sitting like this.
On my tool bench at the shop, I have the wrench size for all the vehicles that we service written down for the oil plug. So if you want to make your life easy, write down what the wrench size is every time you change the oil.
And if you're at our dealership, I have one car. I was sitting there. I was puzzled. I was like, okay. I try to guess what the bolt size is straight off. I'm like 19, and it turns out to be a 17 on some cars. Some is 19. Some are. I saw one truck. It had a 10 mil factory drain plug bolt. I'm like, what in the? I found out, and one customer, he wrote down what the drain pan bolt, like the drain bolt, was on there. I'm like, oh my God, that made life so much easier for us.
I think customers need to write on their oil pans, do not use air tools on drain plug. Because for some reason, there's a few lube places that like to do that, and they end up causing a lot of damage.
I hate when they use air impacts on lug nuts. Like the one you saw that was snapped, that was snapped off. Yeah. I will use it to run it up, and then I'll get the torque wrench and do it all.
Yeah.
Oh, I hand tighten them.
I'll use a gun just to bring it up to the wheel, and then I'll get the breaker bar or the torque wrench out and torque them.
Yeah, I've seen what Walter said, that an oil leak after an oil change and the filter, they just hand spun it on but didn't crank it down a quarter turn. Seen that happen. Let's see, the backwoods mechanic has a page for oil changes as well as lug nuts per car. It's always good to have. And I've actually had it where Ford has had the FL, what is it, 400 or something, or 420. There's a filter that one of the sizes is smaller and one of them is bigger. I've seen on the Fords. But he had a customer that insisted on a smaller filter rather than a bigger one. And I can't remember, the smaller filter will increase your oil pressure and maybe reduce valve ticking or something like that, maybe.
I don't know. I don't work on, the only Ford I work on is this one.
Oh, I'm not saying that his customers or his was a.
Next time I'm over there, I'll have to ask about that. What?
I've heard it before where
that's got me curious.
The smaller one has a little bit difference in oil pressure, or it makes the flow a little bit faster rather than the bigger one. But then I've heard it the other way, that the bigger one filters better. So I don't know. And I've never used torque sticks. I've always used a torque wrench.
Always torque wrench. I know a couple of the couple guys, they swear by the torque sticks.
Yeah,
I do torque wrench.
I think they use those at Walmart.
The torque sticks?
Yeah.
I mean, technically,
I think they just shove it on impact, shove it in, and they're good to go, because
kind of like that back wheel on that Charger.
Or like the one time I take my truck up, when I was younger, to get an oil change at Walmart, and I go up there and they're not giving me any info. It's been there 4 hours. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then they're like, they snapped the head off the bolt. I had taken it there like the previous few times for an oil change, and they must have just impacted it in, and then they couldn't get the bolt out because they popped the head off. But they left it there for 4 hours without telling me. So then I had to take it to an actual mechanic. And
I had the tires changed on my wife's van, and they called me about an hour later and said, we can't get the lug nuts off. They're too tight. I had to go down there with the breaker bar, loosen all the lug nuts so they could change the tires for me.
I hope you took a torque wrench to make sure you had them tightened down too.
Yeah, I always check when I get a car back, because you never know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, with this, if I go get tires put on, I'd put her on Jackson's, take all the tires off, blow them in the back of the Honda, go get the tires put on.
Yeah.
That way, there's no chances of them screwing up over torquing them.
I mean, for the price though, what do you? I mean, it's like a $12 oil change.
That's really cheap. I think they're more like 20. I wish it was $12.
Well, when I took my truck there originally, it was I don't know, it's like a $14 oil change.
Oh yeah, back in the days they used the no-name oil filter. Actually, at one time they were using the cheapy Fram.
Yeah, Fram.
The cheapest line. But now they switched to their own brand. Like, is it Works or something like that?
Super Tech, I think, is their
maybe
their
that
brand.
Yeah, that's right. Works might be Advanced Auto. I can't remember. Somebody uses Works with an X.
But either way, I mean, oil. I just do my own oil changes. It's just easier that way.
I've done my own oil changes since since my family could put a wrench in my hand.
Well, I can tell you I have enough impacts right now in my garage as well as torquing devices that I should be able to get all the lug nuts on and off and to the right spec I want.
Well, an impact per lug nut.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to argue the fact, I'll just start pulling out the impacts. I can do 3, 4, 5 right in my vicinity.
I won't argue, but I will say, old school repair shop, you're pretty fortunate because if I asked my dad to hand me a wrench, I don't know what tool I would end up with in my hand.
That's how my father is. I'm lucky my father checks his own oil and puts fuel in his car. My father is a retired federal prison guard. He's a certified cook. I learned everything about mechanics off my grandfather.
Pro.
So if I want to learn how to cook, I go talk to my father.
There you go.
Speaking of lug nuts, did any of you guys put anti-seize on them?
Always.
I do not.
Nope.
Lug nuts, brake, where the face of the brake rotor is, where your wheel bolts up to it. I'll put a little bit on there. Behind the rotor, and on the bolts for the caliper.
Frank Landgraf said, quit throwing the torque wrench in the street. I just did it 3 times, I think. And it was for science.
Ed shouted no. So I guess it's a big no from Ed.
Yeah, they'll actually tell you not to do that because it changes the amount of
Torque value.
The torque on the threads. So I can't remember the clamping force is different when you put anti-seize on it. So just because you torque them down to 80 foot-pounds, the actual clamping value is a lot less.
I was one kid tried to argue with me that, which I get his point. If you use Never-Seize, it acts like a lubricant, so it will eventually just vibrate and back its way off.
I guess the question, I grew up in Indiana, the Rust Belt, salt on the road. So anti-seize was more of a rust on situation.
Yep. So I think in that scenario, while I can't say that you should do that, I can't say that I haven't ever done that myself and had no issues on it. Everybody's scenario is going to be a little bit differently. I think everybody's going to always err on the side of caution not to do that. But if it's my choice and it's my vehicle and I know I'm going to have to take that off in X amount of months and I don't want it to be rusted and seized on, I might try it myself.
My way of thinking with the Never-Seize is if you end up with a flat on the side of the road, nothing is worse than trying to deal with a seized on lug nut trying to change your tire.
Right. But if you have the right tools for it, then I don't think it's a problem. I mean, my wife would not be able to crank off a lug nut with even the 26-inch breaker bar. It's just not going to happen. On the other hand, I know I can twist that sucker right off. I also know that if I only have 4 lug nuts left, I'm going to be just fine. I can get away with 3. I can probably get away with 1 if I go slow enough. So you kind of have to weigh your pros and cons.
Well, I just wanted to say, although this isn't a Client Graphics live stream where he hits a button that says go live and 100 people jump in there, I will say we have 24 awesome people in here right now.
Yes, that is good. Yeah,
enjoying the stream on BS Small Engines channel. I appreciate everyone joining in tonight and joining us in this discussion and talk. And it's that's freaking awesome, right?
Yeah. Always a good time. We got Beer Studs Toolbox footage. We got Amos Cardoza. We got Roger Long, who works on lawnmowers. So, Brandon, I'm sure he's subscribed to your channel. And we got Polar Bear Ed. How's it going, man? And Work Pro Tools had to check out. They had a good night. And we will see them sometime very, very soon. So, Neil, I know we're going to try to wrap things up here. Brandon can stream all night long. He can go 3 hours, even sometimes 6 hours.
not anymore.
And we never know what's going to happen. But is there any new videos, new projects, new tools in the works for you here in the next week or two that we might be seeing?
Yeah, there's a few new tools, and actually, I had a company reach out to me and ask if they could send me some stuff to make a video. It's not tool related, but it is, homeowner type things. And, what like sometimes you'll get companies that ask you to do that, and then you have to pay money, and then they reimburse you. I avoid all those, but they sent me the products. Said just make a video on YouTube, and they didn't care whether my opinion was good or bad. They just want a video. So I agreed to it. So I'm excited for that. That'll be coming up. Something different. I don't get that too often.
You got to take them when it falls in your wheelhouse and it's something that you're interested in.
I mean, it seems like something different and pretty cool company. And like I said, they're like real. Like I said, it might take me a couple months to just test it out and see how it works and get my actual opinion. That's fine. So
that's all you can ask for. If you have somebody that's pushy or needy or things like that, then that's not a good fit, and that's not a product that you want to test out. It's still
very weird to do that type of stuff, but it's I'm comfortable with this one.
Yeah, I had a company that reached out to me once, and I didn't even really get a chance to review their product and make a video out of it, other than just really talk about it. Which, at the end of the day, you should have seen how much stress I was under, because it was not something that I would normally do. Right. It was a tool, but it's not anything that I would normally look at. And so if I'm not excited about it, how can I get excited to do a video about it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is. And it might be funny, like some people might be like, Brandon, you never talk about terrible tools. Or Craig, why do you have all the coolest pictures of all the new stuff? And it's like, well, why would I buy terrible stuff? Why would I not at least read reviews about something and understand what I'm getting myself into? Now, there are times where we've bought a terrible tool, but I would like to feel as we get older, or as we mature in our wants and desires for making our life more efficient, we might be purchasing more expensive tools that allow us to get a job done quicker, faster, safer, more efficiently. And then there's other times where you look at something and you're going to be using it at home, or you're going to be like, you know what? I don't need the biggest tool. I just need to be able to get the job done, and I want to share it with my family. I want to work with my kids on a project, and I don't need 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. I don't need a high torque Milwaukee. I don't need anything that is too much.
I'll interrupt you real quick. It's very obvious that a lot of people buy into those tools because of the name brand, because of what that reflects. So, like, a lot of people buy them to use them professionally because if they go to work with a Ryobi, they're going to get made fun of. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. That's just how the world works. But if you have a Milwaukee or a Hilti or a Makita or something, you're going to fly low and, you're just another guy.
Fair enough. Same time, you got to be comfortable in your own shoes, whether you're working with the best tool and the most expensive one or the worst one.
Most guys that work with tools aren't now.
Yeah. That's too bad. That's too bad. I buy what works for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can. Like, I like trying new tools, like it's fun for me. But at the end of the day, I also like using what works. I don't.
Zaphael, I do not need a 1-inch Milwaukee cordless impact. If I would go 1 inch, I wouldn't even go Milwaukee. It'd be just a total nut runner all the way, and we'd be doing like 5,000 foot-pounds, not a problem. But that puts you in the $5,000 range, and right now I just really cannot afford to spend another couple $1,000s on things.
I'm almost at a point where I can't afford to feed my car.
Well, then you
I paid like almost $100 to feed this thing, and I paid another $30 to go feed the other car.
Yep, name brand tools can be a very powerful drug. This guy's garage, the man makes the tools don't make the man. And I wish all men knew that.
I fully agree with that.
Yep, you can give somebody a $5 ratchet versus a $150 ratchet. They'll both hopefully take off a properly torqued down oil pan at 30 foot-pounds. They both should do it.
Oh, oil pens aren't even at 30 foot-pounds anymore.
You'd be surprised. One of I think some of the spec is like 28 to 35 on some of the Toyota ones.
I did a lot of work as a kid with Buffalo tools.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I did a lot of work with Craftsman.
That's how I got started out.
I did a lot of work with some.
I had Stanley.
I did a lot of work with Stanley. I still have my first Stanley that I bought when I was trying to branch away from Craftsman.
I still have my first screwdriver over here in the corner.
I do not have my first screwdriver. I was actually thinking about how many non-complete screwdriver sets I have the other day.
Yeah, same here. That's the most lost thing.
I don't know what it. I missed the. Which one is it? It's one of the flatheads that work good for tuning your carb screws. I missed that one.
That's how. That's what this one is. This is specifically only for adjusting carburetors.
Yep, that's the one I miss a lot, but that's also one I have a lot of. And then the number 2 Phillips.
This one was given to me back when I was about 3 from my grandfather. Because somehow he knew I was going to end up working on carburetors, and lo and behold, I do. And this sucker here, it does everything. I use it as a pry bar, carburetor screwdriver, scraper, letter opener once in a while.
Coffee stir?
No.
That's flavor. Seasoning.
Just like eating a sandwich with grease on your hands.
Well, that's how
That's
you
the
know you
flavor.
can't get corona. If you can eat a sandwich with all this crap on your hands, you're fine.
My grandpa
use
laid
yogurt.
his sandwich. Yeah, my grandpa laid his sandwich on the engine of the car he was working on. He could reach up and grab a bite every now and then.
Brandon,
You got
it looks like your hands are still dirty.
Yeah, they are.
you. Have you guys seen the newer Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage a few years back?
I haven't even seen Gone in 60 Seconds.
Well, there's a guy that's working in a morgue, and he had to go pick up a phone, and he puts his sandwich on a dead body, answers it, and then goes back, picks it up, and starts eating it. So, just kind of popped in my head there.
Is that the one with the was it the 67 or 68 Mustang?
Mustang, yeah, Eleanor.
Eleanor, yeah. Yeah, where they're boosting all the fancy cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one way too many times.
I've never seen the movie, even I know what that Mustang looks like.
The best Mustang movie is The Bullet with Steve McQueen.
I like the one that was in John Wick. The very first John Wick. I loved that Mustang.
That, I'm having trouble thinking of it, but yeah, that was a. Made some good cars.
Well, I think I've had a great live stream with you guys so far. I know the things that I have coming up would be the Milwaukee 3/8 with the rigid subcompact. I was supposed to do that one today, but I didn't get a chance to even work on it. I spent most of my time making my new fixture to help get up to 250 foot-pounds with no problem. So we hopefully will achieve that without a problem. And then probably start in on working on the video for the new toolbox that I got. So we'll.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
Hopefully have the green machine coming out here in the next week or so. We'll do a couple videos on that. On what to expect when you're expecting a new toolbox from a manufacturer that you've maybe not ever purchased one from, or you may have not have seen anybody that purchased one from. And we'll leave it at that.
And the next Tool Talk Saturday is going to come up quicker than the last one.
I know. It's only 3 weeks away.
Yep.
So I got 3 weeks to go get tires for the little motorcycle I have to do the burnout.
No, that's small engine Saturday.
Yeah.
Nah.
Wouldn't you want to not get new tires for that?
Not when they're dirt cheap. All it is a bicycle tire.
You want to run that thing down, just tear it out and then replace it.
Buy it ahead of time.
What's the fun in that?
Everybody
So I may actually post a YouTube video in the next week.
Ooh.
I may have some new tools to show you guys that it's not related to anything you guys are doing every day, but it's stuff that I use and they're cool tools. So I may actually post a YouTube video. Once every 6 months is a good pattern for me, so I'm good with that.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong with that. You got to start with content somewhere, and you never know where you'll be 6 years or 3 years from now.
I do have a home project that I'm working on. So that's
a little cub.
That's what's left of a Cub Cadet. And over there in the corner is a 4-cylinder diesel that's going to go in it.
Nice. I got to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we're going to get into tractor stuff. I need to finish my video series on restoring this old Suburban snowplow and get my Suburban down here and start restoring it.
I don't even have time to even start on tractor videos right now. But you might get to see a custom header video on a Dodge Charger soon.
Ooh.
Nice.
Next month.
Very nice.
Yeah, I got a couple of videos that I'm thinking about in the future. I would like to do more car stuff with old V8s and would like to get my old series started back up, the Off-Road Daily project.
Well, and of course we'll do the one on the adjustable pliers here at some point in time too.
Yeah.
Yep, that one we got to do.
There we go.
Everybody wants to know about the Harbor Freight one. What can I say? Everybody loves to view and loves to hate, loves to purchase, have mixed feelings about, because sometimes it is a great deal and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm
So I
surprised
haven't been
some
on-
of the Harbor Freight electric tools. I have 2 of these Chicago electric drills that they discontinued. They still run strong, and I've used them for starting motors up with them.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes there's a gem out there. Sometimes there's stuff that you never want to get again.
Yep.
So I haven't been on YouTube in the last week, really. Did you ever get your screwdriver video out?
No, I didn't get that out either. It's one of those personal things where it's like you sit down and you're like,
I don't
Anyway.
know.
any way I talk about it, it's like it's still a personal choice. I really feel like you have to, touch and feel and hold that screwdriver to find out if it's going to be the right one for you. Just like that multimeter you purchased there. We talked about a fluke one. That fluke one might have been perfect too, but you didn't get an opportunity to see it, touch it, feel it, or even compare it. And that's where something like just the sheer fact of putting a thumbnail out that shows all of these pliers right there, and you have that tagged properly, if anybody wants to compare those, they can at least now look and know that from this live stream, I was going to do it anyways, but now you'll be able to get a shot where you can compare the bills on each one of these or see what the profile is. Where, if you think about it 10 years ago, you might not have been able to do that. It would have been very difficult unless you were in the right forums and had the right group of people that you could even compare what was the best tool out there, rather than just picking one up and going, well, I got a channel lock. Everybody around me has a channel lock. Channel lock must be the best one. It might still be the best one. But if that's all you know, then it is the best one, and it doesn't matter what else is out there.
And it's all about how it feels with you.
Right. Yep. And I mean, whether I'm biased or not, I still think one of the best values are the Irwin ones. But
Yeah.
as Neil pointed out, they have the biggest jaws.
But there's still great. That's just a personal preference for me, But
And I never looked at it that way. I never thought about the bills on there because everything on those jaws or looking at it always worked for me. I thought it more of convenience when I lock up to a fastener. It's easier for me to slide up and just go. That's what I like.
All right, gentlemen, with that, I'm going to go take care of some kids. You all have a good night. Thanks for having me on. Enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks for joining.
thanks
No
for
problem.
joining.
Joining us, Craig.
You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and be well. We'll talk
Right.
to you soon.
You do the
Yeah,
same.
you too.
Later.
Later. Yeah.
Been there before.
And as Polar Bear Ed said, if it looks good, if it feels good, use it and make sure you get a chance
Yep.
to use it. So that's where, if you have one of these and you do use it, maybe mention something about that to other people, whether it's be on Instagram or on YouTube. The opportunity that works out good. Amos Cardoza said, yeah, I have those Irwins. The maintenance man has the Irwins too. I can tell you the Husky ones, I think I picked up the two-piece set, like I said, for clearance of like $4. So if you could pick the Huskies up at $4 every day,
Oh yeah.
that truly would be the best bang for your buck, but you can't do that. So it's really hard to say, hey guys, you can pick these up for $4. No, you can't. They clearanced them out like a couple months ago, and you can't do that anymore. But at the time that I posted that on my Instagram. So when deals come up, if you're not already checking out Brandon and Neil on Instagram, you got to be doing that.
Oh, and I forgot to mention our new the Instagram I set up just for the podcast, which is actually starting to get a lot of people to it.
Cool.
So we got an Instagram, Tool Talk Saturday. Look it up on Instagram.
I'll do that right now.
I hope to start posting tool deals on there soon. Also,
Yeah, everybody likes that. Yeah, that's the one thing. The V-Jaw, they can potentially wreak havoc on your fasteners. I'll be really interested to see some of these. They were said to, depending on how you position these in there. So like that locks in there just right that it's not supposed to wreak havoc on the edges. It'll be interesting. That might be more something that I would look at doing, is how a fastener is damaged by them, or
Yeah.
how much damage the tool takes on
But
the edges.
then you gotta do like different fasteners and stuff, like
Yeah.
like plumbing and all that type of stuff. So
Which might be a little bit more difficult. So
I'm
not sure which way I'm going to go on it.
because I call them, I call them Knipex, Knipex, or whatever. But they're like a plumbing tool. So
Yeah.
getting onto that stuff, they work great. Channel locks aren't bad. They're a quality tool made in USA. But I never liked how the jaws grip stuff. It always seems like they just rip.
Yeah, that's why you always had to put a rag on them. But the other thing is, depends on what you're working on. So the steel pipe might be a little bit different if you're working with a lot of brass fittings.
Right.
So if you are doing your ice maker line, or you're putting in your sink lines or your toilets, things of that nature, the thing is you don't need a gorilla. You don't need somebody with Herculean muscles to tighten down
Yeah.
your faucets. You don't.
No, but taking off water shutoffs and all
that's true.
Stuff is
taking the faucet fasteners off 10 to 20 years later, after all the calcium buildup and all the deposits on it, is a different story.
right.
So that's actually a really, really interesting profession, where you have to have delicate, fine skills for putting things on and know that you can't be a torque monster. And then when you go to take
And when you're taking them off and you're like, oh no, that's we gotta shut the water off because that's just not going to do. So
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely different, getting out there in that type of stuff, the plumbing.
Yeah. If I'm using channel locks, the fastener is already trashed. Very, very.
So what Raphael was talking about earlier, he sent me a picture. It's still what I call an E-clip. This is not an E-clip to me. This is a snap ring. And it's the one on the side right here that went missing on his.
So does it have the snap ring on it, or it's not an E-clip where it's basically like the C and then it's got a little notch, which makes it the E-clip?
Yeah, that's what I call an E-clip. This is the ones with the knots. No, this is the actual snap rings that you use snap pliers on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I never tried the Van pliers.
I've heard they're decent.
Yeah, I have too. I've heard very good things about them.
Yep. Well, if anybody's got any more questions for me, throw them out here. I'm going to wrap things up on my side here in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got.
Yep. That's definitely a snap ring.
That's snap ring.
That would be an external snap ring.
Yeah.
I will say, I have one other thing here. This Tack Life headlamp is $7.99 on Amazon. It's 400 lumen. It's kind of bulky, but it's not bad, and I just took it out of the box. I'm going to use it at home. It's rechargeable, has lithium-ion batteries. For $7.99, that's a heck of a deal, I think.
Let me know when you actually get a chance to use the strobe feature on those. I've always found it interesting that
I've never used. I
know.
Yeah,
It's always blown my mind that some of the
Hang on one second, guys. Something just happened outside.
and some of the headlamps like that have the strobe feature.
it is definitely made in China.
So did that really have two 2600 milliamp batteries on it?
Hang on here.
Yeah, it come you have to pop them in. I just opened this up.
Hi, my name is
It's
James.
gonna make a little.
I live on Route 8, and there was just an accident.
Are those the
Yes.
18650s on there?
Let me see here. So they're 3.7,
Mushroom thing.
2600 milliamp,
Wow.
3.7 volt, 9.6 watt, and it does say it gets 10 hours runtime.
Yeah, that sounds like the 18650 in there.
So for $799, I mean, I couldn't pass it up. That's cheaper than the Energizer battery, AA ones that you see at Home Depot and stuff.
And is that a rechargeable one?
It is rechargeable.
Does it recharge in the unit or does it have an external charger for it?
It has a USB.
Oh, perfect.
So
Perfect.
All right, I'm back. Lord, I hope someone's okay. 2 cars just crashed right out here by the shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's something new.
did you say Route 8?
Yeah, Route 8. That's it's technically called Veterans Boulevard, but Route 8 is
So
what
you're
it's more called.
Pittsburgh?
Nope, West Virginia.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so somebody mentioned, did I consider putting lock washers on? I actually got some different fasteners. We'll see if I'm going to end up using. I typically test at least once or twice before I get some values on the torque settings and make sure everything looks right. But I'll run those down and see if there's a big difference between the two. But typically, I don't really need one because that one right there, I don't have the fasteners tack welded on the back. The other one was a stud that had actually the ridges in it that actually grab, so the fastener doesn't actually twist any which way. So if I tack weld those other fasteners down, they won't move. So a lock washer really shouldn't impact any of the results for the most part. At least I wouldn't believe it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
Now, with those lock washers, have you tried the Norlock washers?
No, I just picked those up today, and I honestly probably won't use them, but I'll test them. There's only so much data and so much you can put in a video. So it's like, by the time, if you did 4 tools at one time and you did 4 tests and each test took about 45 seconds, your video would be really long.
Yeah.
So like, it's really neat to compare a bunch of tools, but then you can also only put so much data in it. And you can also only listen to somebody talk about impacts or whatever tool you're talking about for so long, because 9 times out of 10, nobody cares about all 10 products. They only care about 2 of them or 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I try to think of things, but that's where it's like, you guys also come in, I bounce things around with Neil and Brandon and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Or, is this decent for a trailer? Or is this decent for an intention getter? Sometimes they're like, I don't know what you're thinking, man. You need to change that up. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
If they could only see our Instagram posts or conversations sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes you wake up the next morning, you're like, wow, we just had that conversation. Yeah, but then,
sometimes those conversations go on to like 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes out of the blue.
But then there's other times when I think it's like actually a value where it's like, oh, I was actually helpful and I shared information and made somebody's life easier.
Yeah.
And then you just- So Neil, I noticed that I'm the only one with the banner up.
Yeah, mine's tucked up, but it's kind of kind of on reserve right now.
Wasn't sure if you got like a new truck that came in, hit it, and knocked it down, or
No. I'm gonna share this if I can in the chats where I got the light there.
yeah, for $7.99, just getting those 2 batteries with it is almost actually it's cheaper than anything you can get at Harbor Freight.
I can't copy and paste the link, huh?
You should if you have you have a wrench.
Not, but it's on Amazon. If you type in
Oh yeah, and their links are long.
Tack Life headlamp, it's $7.99.
I never really got those work lamps or headlamps to work. They always kept sliding up on me no matter what I did.
Yeah, this one's a little different because it has a strap on the top, actually.
Yeah, I had one with the strap on top. It still kept coming up on me.
I have a Craftsman at work that works pretty well, but it's just like a band.
Looks like we got reminded that NASCAR is going to be back tomorrow. And Brandon, I'm not sure if you're doing things right or wrong tonight. You got 21 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down.
I know. I think I
that's
did it
so
wrong
good.
because. No, I think I did it wrong because they should be 1 thumbs down at least.
Okay, fine. We'll make it 1 thumbs down. 1 second.
What happened to my troll that came to put that 1 dislike on most live streams? Don't know what happened there.
I have
It
a
left
thing.
me.
I have a thing now. It doesn't bother if people don't like my video. They don't like my video. That's fine. But like I always get a thumbs down, but then it disappears.
Oh, I got 3. Y'all are being jokesters now.
I'm lucky to even get 1 thumbs up on any of my videos.
YouTube's not easy.
No.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
And with the algorithm, they really just don't make it easy for you.
It's like a box of chocolate.
It took a while, but now I have at least 1 comment on all my videos. Usually multiple comments, and I get a few likes now. So it's hard when you first get started. It's when you get up those numbers up and get more people in.
Brandon,
interact with them.
You're like the hardest working YouTuber I know, man. You post videos left and right, and just you get that content out there. And
my channel's done better this week with me not even fooling with YouTube. I just walked away. I ain't done nothing to YouTube this week.
It's all, who knows what it, I mean, it all goes in waves. Like sometimes Brandon will work and he'll post like 5 videos. And I'm like, dude, slow down. And then he's like, okay. And then it's like, then he gets discouraged and then he comes back with a vengeance and does like 6 videos. And you just never know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't even have a video for this week. I usually try to get 1 a week out. I don't even have 1 planned for this week. So I don't know. I guess it's a off week.
I'm sure you'll come up with something, Brandon.
Yeah.
I just
Something will happen tomorrow.
To video and talk about.
I just got to find enough time in the day to talk about him.
And that too.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the last month, this is about as most I've ever been in my own garage.
You know how you YouTube a lot is in the chats when you type to respond to like BW's electronics and you type in BW and the rest of it just shows right up.
Like Raphael's like right there when I go to type something to him.
Yeah, you hit X and it just boom and you click it.
That is very nice.
Or when your phone pops up and says you spent 6 hours on it.
Well, I think we got to wrap this one up. 2 hours.
Yep.
Yep, 2
That's a
hours
great
is
number.
good.
Yeah.
It's an even number. I like even numbers. I don't know why.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, when I turn the radio up in my car, it cannot be on a odd number.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm direct opposite. I like odd numbers.
but Brandon, thank you for having us. I appreciate
I'm
it.
always glad to have y'all on here. This is the
Yeah, it's a
funnest
real
time
honor
I
being
have
on
on
here.
live stream. So,
Okay,
guys, I think we're going to round this up.
Yep, we really
Thanks.
appreciate everybody tuning in.
Absolutely.
Yep. We'll see y'all in a few weeks for another Tool Talk Saturday. Be sure to go check out Old School Repair Shop, the Maintenance Man, and that guy down there that always breaks tools, that client graphic guy over there. That he always breaking tools or something. He has a $3,000 socket or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
Something
he'll
like
finally
that.
get those cabinets done.
Just don't tell his wife, you know.
Yeah, just don't tell
Yeah,
my
just
wife.
don't tell.
No,
it's
we
like,
didn't start
It's
on
like
the camera.
Demolition Ranch. You can't tell his wife.
She knows. She knows.
Yeah.
She's just playing.
Anyway, guys. Later, guys.
Take
See ya.
care.
There's always such a delay when you're in a broadcast. Wait.
Have a good
I
night.
don't know anymore.
Good night, BW's Electronics, Rail 9222. Later, Mike Hodges. Peace out, brother. Beer Stud Toolbox Footage. We'll talk to you later. We got this guy's garage, Ken's Small Engine Repair, Turnings by Turner.